I just want to invite you, if you have your Bibles, phones, whatever, flip over to Luke chapter 7. I'm continuing this series, Conversations with Jesus, and I'm really enjoying this series. I find it very challenging and also super rich in my soul. And I've been meditating for the last, month, 6 weeks, 2 months, on a particular passage in Luke 7, verses 36 to verse 50, along in there. And I've been doing this interesting contrast because this is the passage that talks about the sinner woman who shows up at the Pharisee's house and washes Jesus' feet with her tears. And it's interesting because as I was reading through my Bible and I came to see that in John chapter 12, a similar situation happens. And I didn't really realize until I kind of slowed down for a little bit that this experience happened to Jesus twice. 2 different scenarios. So Jesus is having dinner at 2 different people's house. He's having dinner at the Pharisee's house. We come to know the Pharisee as Simon. And then he's having dinner at Mary, Martha, and Lazarus' house in John chapter 12. And so what I'd like to do, if you're up for it, could I have 2 ladies just come and hang out? You don't have to do anything except sit here at the chair. You don't have to, cry or wash feet or any of that. I promise it's pretty easy. But if you could just 2 lady volunteers, I'd be super grateful. Thank you, Alice. And get somebody on this side, that'd be fantastic. Because we're going to do a little bit of compare and contrast. And it's going to be a really very powerful thing for you to see the compare and contrast. So one more chick, if you have a little bit of courage up there. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So in both of these scenarios, it's dinner time with Jesus. And both of these homes invited Jesus to come and have dinner. I would be all on board for that. Come to my house, have dinner with us. One of my kids recently cleaned the kitchen, so it's super pristine, and I wouldn't be embarrassed and wouldn't have to shove all the junk boxes in the closet because they went through the closet as well. But I'd love to sit down and have dinner with Jesus. Anybody on that page with me? Sign me up. I'll push you out of the way to get there first. So Simon the Pharisee asked Jesus to come for dinner. And Jesus shows up and has dinner with Simon the Pharisee. Now, obviously, he's religious. He's a religious leader. And as Jesus is there, it says a sinner woman from the town came to Simon's house. Now, Simon invited Jesus, but he did not invite the sinner woman. And some translations say that this woman was a sex worker or a prostitute. And it's probably true. She was. She shows up uninvited, and she begins to wash Jesus' feet. She stands behind him, and she washes his feet with her tears. She's sobbing. She dries his feet with her hair. She continually kisses his feet. And it says she anoints his feet with oil. I think that's one of the most powerful, demonstrative expressions, outpouring of love for Jesus that you see in all of the Gospels. And it's interesting that she has the courage to do this in a Pharisee's house. She knows the Pharisees. She knows what they're like. She knows their mindset. She's not invited. If anything, she would be unwelcome, uninvited. She does that. And if you flip over, and there's a similar parallel in John chapter 12. Jesus shows up at Martha, Mary, Lazarus' house. This is the 3rd time we read about Jesus hanging out with his family. The first time is in Luke chapter 11, verses 38 to 42. They have Jesus over for dinner. This is where Martha gets cranky. Tell Mary to help me. Quit sitting at your feet listening. Remember that story? And Jesus says she's chosen the one thing. So then after they have that meal, then they send to Jesus in John chapter 11 and say, hey, the one you love is sick, their brother, come and heal him. Jesus doesn't heal him. They're disappointed, frustrated with him. Jesus shows up too late. Instead, he raises him from the dead. Whoop, didn't see that one. That was a spoiler alert. So in John chapter 12, He's about ready to go to Jerusalem for the Passover to be crucified. And at the beginning of John chapter 12, verses like 1 through 7, Jesus is at their house. And of course, Martha is serving. Classic Martha. Everybody's in character. We have Lazarus who's reclining at the table with Jesus. We never hear anything from Lazarus. He doesn't even say thanks for raising me from the dead. We don't, he's just, just the recipient, which is pretty cool. And of course, we have Mary at Jesus' feet. The first time we saw her sitting at his feet, she's listening. The second time, she's crying. And this time, she anoints his feet with oil, beautiful myrrh oil, super expensive, and dries it with her hair. So you have a same expression, similar. One is the sinner woman, and one is Mary. She's not necessarily the sinner woman, but both women extravagant in their expression of love.